RingCentral phone app. So the RingCentral phone app can be installed. Let me go ahead and stop my video really quick so I can make some room. The RingCentral phone app can be installed on your iPhone, Android, or computer device, right? I'm assuming IT is going to assist you with getting this installed. And you can essentially manage your calls from wherever you wish. So you can make and receive calls from either your iPhone or Android or your computer at any time. And if you are, and the most typical scenario I see is when users are at their computers, they're signed into the desktop application and calls will arrive there. If they are on the run, they log out of their desktop application, log into their mobile app, and calls will arrive there instead, right? But there's no reason why you can't be signed into both. And if you are, when the call comes in, it'll hit both devices at the same time. You can pick and choose where you'd like to scoop up those calls. Again, for signing in, you guys can use the email option here in the bottom left-hand corner. Email password, just like the service portal we discussed, and it'll let you write in. I'm going to be signing in using my phone number. That's normally how I sign in, so I'm just going to sign in that way really quick. Now, there are some features that are available exclusively on the desktop application that are not available on the mobile application. Okay, I'm going to highlight some today available to you, such as the HUD, but we also have conferencing to go over. There'll be a majority of the features that you need on the mobile app will be there, but there will be some exclusive to the desktop application. Okay. So what's the first thing we should take a look at? Well, let's take a look at what an active call looks like, right, while you're on an active call, compared to the Polycom, which we've been showing so far. I'm actually going to call a specific person. This is a fake person. We're just going to imagine that that's Susie, and I'm going to give her a call. All right. Again, when you get calls coming into your desktop application, they just look like a pop-up, and it'll give you several options in regards to that call. And then when you pick it up, this is essentially what you'll be seeing. Okay, so we have several options available to us. Okay, so we have mute. So mute is something that is in the top left-hand corner. This will allow you to mute the call at any time. It's just like it works on the desktop application. We have the keypad, which will allow us to pull up the keypad at any time. Okay. Our audio option in the top right-hand corner, it will allow us to control the volume of our customer. So just like that volume marker on our Polycom phone, this is exactly where that would work. We have hold, right? So this will actually put the customer on hold. You guys won't be really using the on-demand call recording, so we can skip over that. Conferencing is something we will want to go over, okay? I actually held off on teaching you about conferencing on the Polycom because of the underlying behavior of how a conference works, right? So if you're on a Polycom and you need to perform a conference call, let's say bring in Luke into a three-way conference call rather than transfer a call to him, you actually press that more key that I showed you earlier, and you press conference, and guess what the phone's going to ask you for? It's going to ask you for the extension that you'd like to conference in, right? And you type the extension, let's say 1234, and at that point, what does it do? Well, it'll actually do it in a consultative manner, meaning it puts Susie on hold, it rings Luke exclusively, he picks up, and then I can say, hey Luke, I have Susie on the other line, are you available to be part of three-way conference call? If he says yes, I simply press the same key that I pressed to start the conference. So I press more, I press conference, and now I'm in a three-way conference call. Okay, it's a consultative transfer type method of bringing them together. There are more options for conferencing. I'll go over that shortly. But again, I just wanted to show you the underlying behavior of how that works on the Polycom. How does that work here on our desktop application? Well, if I just press add, again, we're going to imagine we're on the phone with Susie and I want to bring Luke into this call. I press add, and notice at the top it says enter name or number. So I don't even need to know Luke's phone number or his extension for that matter. I can simply type in his name. There we go. Click him. And now I'm good to go to actually start calling him. Now, what this is going to do is essentially do the same underlying behavior, right? So it puts Susie on hold and rings Luke exclusively. As soon as he picks up his phone, two additional buttons will appear at the bottom of the app. One will say merge calls, and one will say cancel, right? So if he says, yes, I am available to be part of this conference call, you just press the merge key in the bottom left here. If he says, no, unfortunately, I'm not available, you press the cancel key. What does that do? What's the underlying behavior of cancel when you do a consultation? It drops Luke from the call, takes you right back to Susie, right? So I can politely explain to Susie, unfortunately, Luke is not available at this time for a conference call. Can we reschedule something? Okay. We have our transfer options in the bottom left-hand corner. We talked about 3 transfer types: warm, blind, send to voicemail. Take a look. They're lined up like a row of ducks. Okay, so you can do the same exact thing. We can type in Luke's name, simply select his extension, and I can warm transfer, also known as consultative transfer, right from here. I can blind transfer right from here, or send to voicemail. Again, a warm transfer consults with him, so if I press this, it will put Susie on hold. So definitely let your customers know, hey, do you mind if I see if Luke's available? Sure, cool. Now go in and press it, and it'll ring Luke exclusively. He picks up, and again, 2 buttons will appear. One will say transfer, and one will say cancel. And why are they there? Well, at that point, I'm asking Luke, hey, Luke, are you available to take this call from Susie? And if he says yes, I press transfer. If he says no, I say cancel. And what does that do? It drops Luke from the call, takes me right back to my customer. Okay? And I can politely explain to Susie, hey, unfortunately, he's not available. Blind, as the name says, blindly sends the call over to Luke, whether he's ready for it or not. And then we have send to voicemail. So this entire process is almost identical on the mobile device, and it should be pretty straightforward. Okay. Park is not something you guys are necessarily going to use on the platform, but we can go over call flip, call switch really quick. Actually, let me stop the recording for just a second. Next, let's go over your call history. So we're going to be going over things like how to see what calls you've made in the past. So that'll be at the very top of the app. It'll say call log. And under the call log, it'll show you not just your missed calls, but it'll show you every single call you've ever made. Okay, so if I want to very quickly go to which calls I've missed specifically, you click on the Miss tab. But if I want to see every call I've made, whether it's inbound or outbound, I'll see it right from here. So I'll see my missed calls, but I'll also see any calls I've made out, and also see any calls that I've made in. Okay, so you can see those coming in just as we speak here. So they'll be in chronological order right in this list. And if you ever need to call somebody back, you can simply double click on it. It'll initiate a call back to that person. Same thing with the miss section. Okay, so that's how we'll do that. Beyond that, we're going to be going over voicemail. How do we check your voicemail? Voicemail is going to be in the top left-hand corner of your app. And again, this should be pretty universal between iPhone, Android, or computer. So you can not only make and receive calls from whatever device that you like, you can also check your voicemails from whichever device you'd like. So when you click on the messages, you'll see that there's several tabs. The one we're going to focus on is voice. This will show us any voicemails that you received in chronological order, top down. So early in today's training, I mentioned that you can get a voicemail and check it on your Polycom. However, you can just go to your computer, click on your voicemail tab, and actually see that same exact voicemail. So it's the same voicemail no matter what device you use. So here's a voicemail from Steve, for example. I can listen to that voicemail right from here. No PIN required. I can call him back, text him back. I can delete it right from here. I can save this locally as a file to my computer as an audio file. I can mark it as read or unread or block it entirely. Okay, so if you get any spam calls, if you get a robocaller, you can block it right from here and never hear from them again. Okay, so that's how you set up your voicemails. The beautiful part about this is that it not only allows you to see those voicemails, but if I delete it from here, it deletes it across all my devices. It deletes it across the cloud. So whether you choose to check your voicemails on your Polycom and delete them there, or if you delete them from the computer, it will always delete on the other device as well. So this is what I mean by being able to manage wherever you wish. Essentially allows you to take the office with you. Next, let's go over the faxing bit that you guys have available to you. There's 2 types of way you guys are going to be able to fax. One is just using the app. So can people fax you? Yes, they can. How do they fax you? They fax you with the same exact phone number that is your direct dial. So if Susie asks me for my number to call me, I give her this number. If she wants to fax me, I give her this number. If she wants to text me, she gives me the same number. Okay? So the system will intelligently know where to send those things. You guys are primarily going to be using these 2 tabs, and if you do get a fax from somebody, you'll see it come in just like a voicemail. Right? You can view it right from here. You can save it right from here. You can forward it along, mark it as read or unread, or block it entirely. Right? So if it's malicious, you can do that right from here. Now, how do we actually send a fax? Sending a fax is at the very bottom of the app. It looks like a little piece of paper with a fold. And if I press it, it'll actually ask me where I'd like to send it. So I can type in a 10-digit phone number, for example. It has to be the full 10 digits, so I'll just use my own phone number here. I can set up a cover page, some message recipients, and I can also attach any documents up to 20 megabytes. I can literally drag and drop some from my desktop right into that area. Here, it supports all forms of extensions. So it supports PDFs, TIFFs, anything conventional eFax system support under the sun, and we support them as well. So I can go in here, grab a Word document, for example, and hit send now, and now I've essentially just sent a fax, right? But notice the fact that it says fax is submitted, not sent. Fax is not like email, because we have to first send the fax rather, and then see if it reaches its destination. So you'll notice, for those paying attention, you'll notice under fax, and that doesn't just show me my inbound faxes, it also shows me my sent faxes. Because just because I submitted it doesn't mean it reached its destination. If this is an old school fax machine, for example, it needs to reach that destination. If that document I attach has 16 pages in it, we have to wait for all 16 to print. And then once it finally does get it, then that fax machine sends a signal back to say the fax was received successfully. So while you're sending a fax, this fax I just sent, you'll see this at the very top, we'll show you a little fax with a clock on it. This is going to stay this way for a few minutes until you are ready to actually get a signal back, and then it will change to fax sent if it actually did go through correctly. If it did not go through correctly, it will actually say fax failed, and in fact, every fax that you send also comes with an email transmission result. So whether you sent the fax successfully or not successfully, expect an email in your inbox that shows you the result of that fax. So the call flip feature in the bottom right-hand corner of your phone allows you to essentially move calls effortlessly between your devices. So let's say I started a call on my computer, right? And I need to go to lunch for whatever reason. While I'm on the call on my desktop application, if I open up my mobile app, right, so that be it on your iPhone or Android, while you're on the call with Susie, if you log in, you're going to see a bar at the top of the app. That bar is going to say something like active call, press the call switch. What's that bar about? Well, it's actually telling you right then and there that I see a call on your computer. I see that you're on a call on your computer, and if you press this button on your iPhone, I'll flip the call from where it's at to the device that you're holding in your hand. All right, you press the button, it asks you to confirm, and it flips the call, ends the call on my computer, and then resumes it on my iPhone. Never drops a beat, never drops the call with Susie. It's the same call, same Susie. Okay, now I could take this call with me out to lunch. I can go get a burrito, go hang gliding, come back from lunch an hour later, however I like to. But it also works in multiple directions. So you can also flip the call back to your computer. If you simply open up your desktop application, guess what it's going to say at the very top? Okay, it's also going to say press to call switch. So it's saying, hey, I notice you're on your iPhone, click this button, flips it right back to the computer, and you can take it from there. Okay, so it works in multiple directions. If you start a call on your Polycom, your iPhone will still see that call. It does not matter. Okay, so you can start it from your Polycom or your computer, your iPhone will see it. The only situation that becomes a little bit more difficult is moving back to your Polycom, right? Because the Polycom doesn't have our software. It doesn't have a special button that says call, flip, call, switch. This is a RingCentral exclusive feature. So that's why we dedicated a specific button for it. So if I need to flip from my computer or my iPhone to my Polycom, that's why this exists. If I click on it, you'll see that it says desk phone and that I have one associated with my extension, and that's when I flip that. So that's the only time you'll be using that specific flip functionality. Okay, so that is the basics of how you guys are going to be operating phone calls on the desktop application. Again, some of these features may be missing. A majority of what you'll need is here. I think the only thing that's not included on the mobile app is the three-way audio calling for conferencing, but there is an option for the audio bridge. Okay. In fact, let's go over that really quickly. What's our second conference option? Because some people may ask, what if I want more than 3 people on a conference call? Well, at the very bottom of the app, you'll see a Start Conference button. If I click on it, it'll show you your personal conference bridge. Every single one of you on this account, every single one of you with an extension, has your own personal 1,000-seat conference bridge. This is your dial-in number. This is your host access code, your participation access code for your participants. And if I press invite with email, it'll grab all this information and throw it into an email template. Nice and neat, okay? This button that says include additional dial-in numbers has to do with international. It's normally turned off, but I've turned it on. And what will happen when I press the invite with email, it will actually ask me where else would I like to have my conference call, right? So you have customers all over the world. We are now an international global company, so we own numbers all over the world. So let's say we want to invite someone from the UK, the United Kingdom, Turkey, Sweden, Slovenia, and Peru, okay? So these customers don't need to pay long distance to call the US conference bridge number. They can actually call a number that's local to their country, okay? These are not toll-free numbers. They're local numbers, so they're still going to pay, but they're going to pay what equates to a local call compared to a long-distance call and save them a lot of money, okay? So you can press the check mark, and again, it'll grab all these phone numbers. It'll grab the participation access code, throw it into a nice email, nice and tidy, give you all the information you need for them, and you can send it on its way, okay? Okay.